Why do you think you need to know everything? Why do you believe that not knowing is a problem? The ego isn't just your personality. It's the voice in your head that needs to be right, that needs to understand, that needs to control. And right now, it's probably reading this with you, trying to figure out if it agrees. If you don't know something, just accept that you don't know. When you think you should know, you create suffering for yourself. Because that's just a belief. Why do you believe you should know? The ego always wants more. It always wants to learn more. That's where the problem comes from. Not from not knowing, but from believing that not knowing is a problem. You point at something and say to yourself, that's a problem. But the problem, in your opinion, which is ego-based, is simply that you don't know. You created an illusionary problem for yourself, that you need to know everything, that you need to understand the matrix, that you need to know every little thing about God, about the universe. And that's exactly why knowing never comes to you, because you expect to learn 24/7. You become attached to the wanting to learn. Even now, you're probably telling yourself, okay, so now I'll just stop wanting to know and then it will happen. But that's still ego, and it creates a new problem. Now you expect it to happen, so you still haven't let go. You haven't accepted that there is no need to know. Now your mind might ask, but wait, is there really no need to know? That's the ego again, popping a logic question, trying to keep you in the loop, because it's trying to survive. Not knowing is fine, but you think you should know. You expect to know. You want to know. All of that is ego. Instead, look at the possibility of not knowing. Accept that you don't know and be present. Because only in presence can you actually know anything. And you're only truly present when you expect nothing. Because expecting puts you in the future, and the future only exists in your head. There is only the now, only presence. Past and future are just concepts, imaginary ones, that the ego created. Because the ego doesn't like presence. It doesn't like it because presence doesn't follow its expectations. You create your own discomfort by believing how things should happen, instead of accepting them as they are. You create your own comfort and your own discomfort. When you try to control what you can control, you create more discomfort. When you accept what you can control, a natural comfort appears. Because then you understand everything is exactly as it's supposed to be, exactly how God knows it should be. So why would you fight God? Why try to control something He already controls? You become aligned with the present moment only when you surrender to Him, when you accept that He knows best, when you stop reaching for your imaginary future or your imaginary past. By being present, you accept God's work, you trust God's work. Presence is where God works. That's where the comfort is. The imaginary past and future, that's where your ego lives. That's where the discomfort is. But that doesn't mean you stop pursuing your goals. It doesn't mean you stop working, stop creating, stop moving forward. It just means you don't need to know how it turns out. You don't need to know the result. You can work towards something and still not know. Still accept that you don't know when it will happen, how it will happen, or if it will happen exactly the way you imagine. That not knowing, it's not a problem either. Let God reward you for your effort, in His own time, in His own way. Your job is the work, not the knowing. So ask yourself, can you become comfortable with not knowing? Can you trust God? It's your choice.